Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Today is Monday Morning Chats with Sack, and Sack is me. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. I hope that you were able to do something fun. And I hope, most importantly, you were able to spend time with people that you love. So, I want to talk about something I would say it's like a part two for advice I would give my cousins. But I think this is something I would just give advice to anyone from my own perspective. Everyone's going to do something differently, but I just think from my own perspective, this is the type of advice that I would give you guys. So last week, one of my girlfriends asked me during our virtual Bible study, would I relocate for my dream job? And I guess the first question is, what is considered a dream job? What is it? And I think that when it comes to your dream job, it's something that you desire, something that you always knew that you wanted to do, wherever the case may be. And so you have to think about that. What is like your dream job? And then the second part is the relocation. Like, is relocation like a big deal for you? And I think there's a lot of factors to take in consideration if you are moving to a new state for a job. And I read some articles about this yesterday about relocation and what that means. If you are in a relationship and you're relocating, you got to ask yourself, will this affect our relationship? If your partner decides to move with you, what are they able to find work there? Based on what the article said, is that sometimes when people are moving based on their job, their significant other has to make a big decision to make that decision to go with them. And when they go with them, that may be harder for them to adapt because they're trying to find a new place. They are away from their friends and their family. If that's the case, where the relocation, they have no family. And so it's a big deal. But I told my girlfriend Thursday, I said, when it comes to relocating, the biggest question is, will I be happy? I think a lot of times, we are taught to get a job that pays well and get a job that we have great benefits. But the bottom line, for me to relocate, would that make me happy? I'm already a happy person, but relocating to a new job, would that make me happy? And your job is very important. The environment that you're in for your job is very important, because most of the time that you spend in 24 hours, if you are employed, is at your job. And so if you are at a place that you do not like, then you can cause a lot of stress to yourself. And so the biggest question, if I relocate for my dream job, will I be happy? I don't care what type of job it is. I don't care if it's the dream job I always ask for. If you're telling me to move to Japan, if you're telling me to move to Alaska, if you're telling me to move to California, will I be happy? Yes, I'm doing what I love, but would I be happy personally? In my family, I bring everybody together, whether it's my mother's side or my father's side. I host family reunions, I host cookouts, and my cookouts are bomb. I host get-togethers. I've been doing this for a while. Ever since I graduated from law school, I realized I missed out on a lot of stuff because I pursued my education, from high school to I graduated high school in 2005, and I finished my last degree in 2015. And I just said that, I missed out on birthdays, I missed out on my god kids, certain celebrations for them. I missed out on even some family reunions. And one of the promises I made to myself is that, hey, once I'm done with school, then I will make that effort. I can't get the time back, but I can do things to make up for time that is lost. And so after I graduated from law school, I did my first reunion, my first family reunion. And that was fun. I live in Maryland. The reunion was in New Jersey. And I was doing that consistently for, I did like four reunions I did. I have family in North Carolina. I could easily drive there. It's about a 5-hour drive. I could drive there. I have family in Philly. I'm from Philadelphia. It takes me an hour and a half to get there. I have family in New Jersey, South Jersey. It takes me 2 hours to get there. And although I'm working, the fact that I'm able to do stuff in my personal life while still working a job that I like is a great thing. But if I am pursuing something that's like my dream job and I had to move so far away, That'll be very hard for me to do because I have so much stuff set up here. And, a lot of times people will say, hey, you need to take that risk. I did that before. When I left Philly, Philly was everything that I knew. I grew up there. And when I left Philly to go to college, I just made a commitment to say, hey, I'm not ever coming back there. And there's some other personal reasons, but I'm never coming back there. And it was hard to go to, college. I ended up going to college with people I went to high school with. But when I went to law school, I went to law school in Michigan. I didn't know anybody there. I had to make that transition. I moved to Maryland, moved to Anne Arundel County when I first moved here, and Arundel County. And I didn't really know anybody here except my cousins. I eventually made friends, and then I met people. We had mutual friends, and I was able to establish great relationships. So I took that risk before. I know what it's like. And now at this age, I'm a homeowner. And usually when you buy a home, it's like you're making some type of permanent decision to stay where you're at. Now you can actually sell your house and you can actually rent your house out. But when you purchase a house, that's like a big deal. And that's some idea that, hey, you actually like the area that you're in. And so my advice to you is that if you are considering relocating for a job, gotta ask yourself, even though it's your dream job, would it interfere with your personal life? Like, would it affect your personal life to the extent where you work, you love what you do, but you have a horrible, personal life? Like, you don't have fun, you don't hang out with friends. What you don't want is to work your dream job your entire life, and then you realize that all I did was work, and I didn't have any fun. My fun consists of hanging out with my colleagues after work, and that was it. The one thing that I've learned over the years is having some type of balance. You can work a lot, you can brag about how you're great at what you do, and that's a great thing. Whether you are a barber, whether you are a hairstylist, whether you are a realtor, maybe you're a lawyer, maybe you're a doctor, whatever the case may be, you may be great at your profession, like amazing. But you have to get to a point in your life where you don't want your career life to be up here and your personal life is drowning. Why? Because if that's the case and your personal life is drowning, you will be very stressed. You'll be depressed, all those things. And when you learn to have something like a balance, like, hey, we're getting there, it makes life better. I've learned that, you can have 8 hours in a day and go work 8 hours and be very effective compared to someone that's working 18 hours. Some people even work 20 hours. You got to figure out what's important to you. What's important to me when I look at priorities in my life is God, my family, and then my career. And I'm at this point in my life where if there's a family emergency, my job doesn't matter. I'll make sure that I'll tell the necessary people what needs to happen. But if they don't understand that, deuces. And that's important. And I got to that point after being in my career for some time where I realized what's important to me, and I'm not changing that. And if you don't understand that, this is just not the place for me. But moving for a job, it's a really big deal. I know that my second year in law school, this is a time where, they already have an idea of how law school works. They know about their grades. And grades are important because, if you're trying to go to a big law firm, most law firms look at your grades. So by your second year, you got an idea of what your grades are like. And this is the time where people are starting to look for summer internships, summer clerkships, and things of that sort. And during that time, I went to Chicago. I visited Chicago for the very first time. And I had my mind fixed on living in Chicago. I was going to practice in Chicago. I said, this is where I need to be. I need to be in Chicago. After one visit, and then I had a girls trip there. We all went, me and my girlfriends all drove there for a weekend. And I said, this is where I want to be. And then I just started to think about it. Chicago gets very cold in the winter. And then I thought about, I like it here. It's nice. I even looked at houses. I was so serious. I want to live there. And then I thought about I mean, I can work at a firm here. I can, work anywhere pertaining to the law. But my family is so far away. And, if I want to come home for Thanksgiving, I mean, I can drive, but, I will have to most likely fly. And Thanksgiving is like a big thing in my family. We all come together for Thanksgiving. And then Christmas, we do our own thing. But Thanksgiving is like a big deal. And I'm like, I thought about all these things like, Dad, if I want to hang out with my cousins for the weekend, my cousins are like my close friends. I can't do that. And yes, you can make friends, and I've done all those things. Like I went to 3 different high schools in 3 different states. So I know what it's like to relocate. I know what it's like to make new friends all over again and pretty much just start all over again. I know exactly what that's like. And I just thought about that. I'm missing out on a lot. And I just said, you know what? Chicago's not it. Maryland, the reason why I decided to go to Maryland, most people don't know this, but I have an aunt and uncle, and I have cousins that live in Maryland. And when I was a little girl, I would come out here for the summertime. I'll always come out here for the summertime. And then while I was in law school, I would always hear people say, Washington, D.C., that area, that's the place to be for lawyers. There's great jobs there. I just knew that after I graduated from high school and went away to college, I knew that I never wanted to go back to Philly. And I just said, I want a different scenery. I just want a different life. And I knew Maryland was always that area that I wanted to go to because I like it. I went there as a child, and I said, this is a place I could see me living at. Where? Not sure, but I like it as long as I'm not too far from DC, because I love DC. And after like my 3rd year in law school, I was like, you know what? Maryland is home. And I've been here, oh my gosh, August will be 8 years that I've been in Maryland. So I enjoy it here. But relocating for a job, that is by far a big thing. I know that when I was in 8th grade, my mother relocated to Florida for her job. So I went to high school in Florida for 2 years. And it was so hard for us, for like Christmas, we would drive to Philly, and it was a 15-hour drive. But I appreciate the relocation because when we relocated to actual Florida, and I'm not talking about, Orlando and Miami and palm trees and beaches. No, we lived in the country. So imagine being a city girl, not the group. No, definitely not that. But imagine living in Philadelphia or living in any type of metropolitan city, and it's at fast pace. When I was in Philly, I was like going on the go all the time. When I was in middle school, our classes were over at 2 p.m. So after 2 p.m., I'm on the bus going to the mall with my friends. And you put me in a rural area where I'm near trailer parks. I've never been exposed to that, ever. Never saw a trailer until I moved to Florida. And the thing that I appreciate is that we didn't know anybody in Florida. My mom knew her coworkers that relocated with her, but her kids, all of us, we didn't know anybody. The blessing about that relocation is that it made us closer. We was in the city, we were always on the go. Everybody had their own routine. But when we were living in Florida, we didn't know anybody. So we did a lot of things together. Every weekend, we would try a new restaurant. We would go to the beach. And it got to the point where our first year living in Florida, we would always go home for the holidays. And it became draining because it's like, wow, we had to drive so many hours. And it got to the point where we just started to stay home. But I appreciate that relocation. But me at this age, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. And so my girlfriend asked me this question, will you relocate for your dream job? And it was simple. If I'm not happy, then I'm not going to do it. Like, I had to take a lot of things in consideration. Like, this is fun. This is cool, but I think about all the things that I'm missing out on. And never be so quick to jump for a job because of money. The more money that you make, the more responsibilities that you have. And if you want to make more money, that's cool. You have to ask yourself, are you willing and able to handle the responsibilities that come with it? Because if you're not, don't take it. But yeah, that is my nugget for today. I think if you're trying to relocate for a job, you have to ask yourself, will this make me happy? I'm trying to tell you, money can make you happy for a short period of time. You can buy what you want. But if all you do is just buying things and you don't have nothing else besides materialistic things, like you're not going to be happy. And I know I did a video to this like probably like last month or so where some people's happiness are tied to materialistic things. So if you're used to making a certain amount of income, you're able to buy all these things. Let's say tomorrow you lose your job. Like this little shirt that you purchased that was like $300 or whatever it is. If you lose your job, you can't buy this. So if you can't buy this, remember, this materialistic thing is attached to your happiness. And if you can't buy this anymore, that means that your happiness is not here. And so I think when it comes to happiness, it starts with yourself. Like you have to be happy within yourself. And I think like this whole Jada and August Alsina thing, the thing that was very, I think, liberating for Will to say is that, I can't make her happy. Like she has to be happy within herself. And I think that is by far so important in all aspects. Like I'll see people that's in relationships and they're like, you complete me. God made everybody whole. They should add to you. And when it comes to a job, I think that actually applies too. A job is something that you like and you enjoy. And if all your happiness is filled within that job, let's say you lose your job tomorrow, what happens? But if you're going to relocate for a job, you got to make sure that you are happy within yourself. And you have to ask yourself, how would this interfere with my personal life? Yeah, if I move away from family, will this really affect me? Or are you a person that says, hey, I'm okay with moving away from my family. I need to change. My family is cray cray. My family is crazy. If you're that person where you don't need to be around a lot of family, I would say try it. But I will always tell people, hey, it's nothing like getting out to see something new. And I'm very blessed. I'm not a part of the military, but I was blessed to live in several states. I lived in New Jersey. I lived in Pennsylvania. New Jersey, I lived in Camden, New Jersey. And if you don't know what Camden, New Jersey is, you should definitely look it up. I lived there. It's a low-income, impoverished area in southern New Jersey. They actually had a CNN special about that. But that's a part of who I am. And I'll never look down on it. It made me who I am. I lived there my early childhood. But I'm grateful for the experience of me living in Camden. I was raised in Philadelphia. I lived in West Philadelphia. I'm from West Philadelphia. I lived in the Overbrook section in Philly growing up. Then after, my 8th grade year, my mother got a job promotion to move to Florida. The best experience in the world. My mom got us out the hood. Even though the area in Philly that we lived in, it wasn't hood, but it was starting to get bad. I lived in Florida. I didn't live in the Palm Beach beach area in Florida. I lived in the rural area. We lived on 10 acres of land. It was the first time in my life where I felt like this was like a big step for my family. My mom actually got a house. We lived on 10 acres of land. We had a farm. We had a horse. We had chickens. We even had a pig, but the pig ran away. In high school, they called me the rich girl because my mom, according to their standards, my mom was doing well for herself compared to my other friends' parents that was living there. And so they saw all these things. I'm like, this is just my life. I mean, I don't know if we're rich or not. I got my first car when I was 16. I purchased my own car. It was a 1989 Sundance. It was a white car. I didn't have a radio inside my car. I would drive it without my permit. But hey, I can say it now. That happened over 15 years ago. I lived there for 2 years. Moved back to Philly. To go to high school. Finish high school. Lived in the Mount Airy section. Totally different in West Philly. Moved to the rural area in Pennsylvania. Different experience. Left Pennsylvania, sorry. After I graduated from college, I went to Michigan. Different experience living in the Midwest. Totally different. Living in the Midwest. Lived there for 2.5 years. And then after that, moved to Maryland. Had a chance to live in Anne Arundel County. Lived in Prince George's County. Prince George's County is always going to be home for me. Um, Lived in Baltimore City. And so I got a chance to live in different states. I got a chance to be exposed to different things. So when it comes to, relocating for a job, I always had to ask myself, hey, will this make me happy? These relocations that I had within the last 5 years, I was still happy within. I was still happy. My personal life was still intact. So I think that's really important if you're considering moving. I will always recommend, hey, live in a different state. That'll make you appreciate things that you were never taught in your home state. You see how everyone lives totally different. One of the things I appreciate living in Florida was that one of my best friends that lives there, she still lives in Florida, she's from there. Every Sunday, they would have Sunday dinner. And then everyone will all sit at the table. Now, this is not just a, regular meal. This is like real Sunday dinner. And my best friend's mom can cook, like Sunday dinner. Everybody, we all get together and have dinner. And that's something that I try to implement at my home, like having Sunday dinner, because I like to cook and I like to food brings people together. So if I tell my cousins and my friends, hey, their favorite thing, they like when I make seafood salad or pretty much anything that I make. And so that's a way for me to bring people together. I like bringing people together. But that's one thing that I appreciate living in the South was having Sunday dinner and bringing people together. So the states that I lived in, it really made me who I am today. And it allowed me to make different decisions about my life, especially when it comes to job relocation. I know that I can live anywhere. Like I lived in a rural area, I lived in a city, I lived in a not so pleasant area. So I know what it's like to live in different areas. But now that I have a decision, I can make a choice. I know exactly where I want to be. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I hope that it encouraged you and hopefully allow you to think about your own decisions if you're considering moving for a job. And like I told you before, and I'm going to tell you this again, never just move for the money. You have to think about a lot of things. Would you be happy? What's the area like? These are things that you should ask yourself, I think. I hope that you have a great Monday. I hope that you have a fantastic Tuesday. I hope that you have an awesome Wednesday. I hope that you have a phenomenal Thursday. And I hope that your Friday will just be super amazing. And your weekend is just going to be so bomb. I hope that you realize how important you are. Sometimes we can lose sight of that. And then especially like when you look at the news, you see so much craziness going on in the world. But never lose sight that you are the best to ever do it. Like you can actually do anything that you put your mind to, but you just have to believe in yourself. And sometimes that sounds cliche where it's like, hey, I believe in myself, but do you really? Do you really believe in yourself? Do you really believe that you are possible? It's easy to say these things, but are you saying this to yourself? Are you telling yourself, hey, I can accomplish anything that I put my mind to? Are you at a job where you're unhappy? This is the time to make that change. Or maybe it's hard because it's the pandemic, and I get it. But are you writing out things as to what are your next steps? Are you at a job that you hate? Are you growing? Are you learning? I see some people at jobs for 15 years and 20 years, and they have not developed a new skill set. They like where they're at, and they're not ready for change. Or maybe they don't want to change. But I'm challenge you today to make that change. I'm challenge you to say that, hey, you can get that job that you really want, but you really have to believe it. Do what's from your heart. And I'm telling you, it would be the best decision ever. You could be at a job, you can make so much money, but if you're not happy, it doesn't even matter. But believe and know that you can. I'll tell you one thing. Last Friday was my last day at my firm, my accounting firm. It's a big accounting firm, made great money. But I decided that I wanted something more. It was a great experience. I got a chance to meet so many people, and I've learned a lot. I have different skill sets. But I know what my passion is. My passion is to teach. I teach part-time, but I really wanted to teach full-time. And I had that experience to do so. And so now I'll be a full-time faculty member, professor at a law school. And I cried. I mean, I got offers in my life for different jobs and it was exciting. But this offer, it made me cry because I realized that like you can really have what you really want. And I prayed for this. And never place limitations on yourself. Never place limitations. Like if you want that job, you can actually get it. And I cried because I realized like great things take time. And I waited for this. 2018, on December 7th, I finished my second year of teaching at Montgomery Community College. My students, every year I give my students a pizza party. And during that pizza party, my students, my first year, they got me gifts. But that year was totally different. They got me like clothes and like jewelry and just cards. And they recorded the pizza party. And they said, you were the best professor that we ever had. And for me, that's very touching. But when I got home, and so after every semester concludes, I always do like a roundtable discussion with my girlfriends. We go out to dinner. We like Founding Farmers. That's like a restaurant that I really like that's in DC. And so we'll go to Founding Farmers and then we'll sit around. It's usually like 7 of us and talk about, hey, it's December. We're about to go into a new year. Like, what are your goals? Like, how can I help you? And I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do it this year, but we usually do it every year. I think I skipped out on 1 year. I didn't do it for 1 year. And after that meeting, I came home and I just broke down crying. And I was like, God, I really want to teach full time. And I don't know when this opportunity will present itself, but this is what I want. And then 2 years later, well, a year and a half later, I got the job that I dreamed of. And I'm telling you this to say that whatever you pray about, you would actually get it. That dream job, you can get that dream job. And you can get that dream job in the area that you're at without relocating. Like, I don't even have to relocate for this job. So you can get it. Be careful what you speak over yourself. If you want things, you got to put things in the atmosphere. Speak positive over your life. Say, hey, I can get this. I just don't know when. But you got it. I believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you. I know that you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to. But just never forget how amazing you are. That's all I had to say, guys. Take care. And I hope that you have a great, great Monday. Bye, guys.